Gold just hit $4,700 an ounce, and almost nobody saw it coming. Let me say that again, because it matters. 12 months ago, some of the most respected voices in precious metals, and honestly a version of the thinking on this channel, were saying gold would struggle to hold $3,000. That it would face serious resistance, that the Fed's rate path would cap any major rally, and then gold went and did something that made all of that look almost embarrassing. So today I want to do something uncomfortable. I want to walk through exactly what was wrong, not to beat anyone up, but because the gap between the forecast and reality is where the real lesson lives. If a call had been right, we might have learned nothing. Getting it wrong this badly, and understanding why, is actually worth a lot more than a correct guess. Let's start with the original thesis and why it felt so solid at the time. A few months back, the dominant market call was this: the Federal Reserve would keep rates elevated, real yields, meaning interest rates adjusted for inflation, would stay high, and gold, which pays no interest, would have a hard time competing with Treasuries yielding somewhere north of 4%. That framework is not crazy. It has a real historical basis. Gold genuinely did struggle through 2022 and into 2023 when real yields were rising hard and fast. The textbook said high real yields crush gold, and the textbook had been right before. Here is fact one of what actually happened. The federal funds rate is now sitting at 3.63%, down from a peak above 5%, but that is still not low by any historical standard. Gold should, by the old model, still be under pressure. Instead it is at $4,700.90 an ounce. That is not a small deviation from the model. That is the model being turned inside out. Fact 2. U.S. real GDP growth is running at just 1.5%. That is soft but not a recession. The old playbook said gold needs either panic or inflation to make a serious run. Neither of those conditions is screaming right now, and yet here we are. Something structural has changed, and missing that structural shift was the core error. So what was overweight? The first thing was the Fed-rate relationship in isolation. For decades, gold moved in near-perfect inverse correlation with real U.S. Treasury yields. When yields went up, gold went down. That relationship held so consistently that most gold analysts treated it as almost a law of physics. But here is what got missed. Central banks around the world, particularly in China, India, Poland, and Turkey, have been buying gold at a pace not seen since the 1960s. In 2023 alone, central banks globally bought over 1,000 tons of gold for the second consecutive year, something that had never happened in the modern data set. The Western financial model, built around the dollar, treasuries, and real yields, was simply not the only game being played anymore. That signal got underweight. Fact 3. The ratio of paper gold contracts, meaning futures and derivatives on exchanges like COMEX, to physical gold actually available for delivery has at times exceeded 100 to 1. What that means in plain English: for every 1 ounce of real gold sitting in a vault, there are more than 100 claims on that ounce floating around in paper form. When physical demand from central banks and sovereign buyers started pulling real metal out of the system, the paper price had no choice but to reprice upward to reflect genuine scarcity. That mechanism, the physical squeeze, was not given enough weight in the original forecast. Fact 4. Gold in euros, in yuan, in rupees, has been in a structural bull market for over 3 years longer than gold priced in dollars suggested. Dollar-denominated gold was the lagging indicator, not the leading one. That was a blind spot. Watching only the dollar price of gold was like watching one wave and missing the tide coming in. Fact 5. The geopolitical landscape shifted faster and more permanently than most macro models assumed. The freezing of Russian central bank reserves in 2022, over $300 billion locked in Western financial infrastructure overnight, sent a message to every non-Western central bank on Earth: dollar assets can be weaponized against you. Gold cannot be frozen. Gold cannot be sanctioned. Gold sits in your vault, and nobody can reach it. The demand response to that realization was not temporary. It was a permanent repricing of gold's role in sovereign reserve management. Fact 6. Silver, historically gold's noisier little sibling, has lagged this gold rally significantly, which is unusual in a classic inflation-driven bull market. Silver tends to outperform gold in the later stages of a precious metals bull run because of its industrial demand. The fact that silver has not kept pace tells you this is not a retail-driven inflation panic. This is institutional, sovereign, and structural demand dominating the gold price. That distinction changes everything about how you read the momentum. Here is something most people never noticed. Fact 7. The mainstream financial media, and frankly a lot of the commentary in this space, kept waiting for gold to correct back to fair value based on the old Fed model. Every single pause in the rally was called a top. Gold crossed $2,500 and analysts said it was dangerously stretched. It crossed $3,000 and the same calls repeated. $3,500, same story. $4,000, same story. The error was not a one-time mistake. It was a model being repeatedly applied to a market that had already moved on to a different set of rules. Now, a lot of you have been asking in the comments exactly where gold goes from here. One of you asked whether we hit $5,000 by the end of 2026, and I want to answer that honestly rather than just saying possibly. Here is what the lesson from this retrospective actually says. The signals that drove gold from $3,000 to $4,700 have not reversed. Central bank buying has not slowed. The geopolitical case for holding gold outside Western financial rails has not weakened. Real GDP growth at 1.5% is not a picture of an economy that takes rate pressure off the table forever, and the physical-to-paper imbalance in gold markets is not being resolved, it is getting more extreme. Based on those mechanics, not on hope, $5,000 gold by end of 2026 is not a fringe view. It is where the structural logic points. But here is the humility that this retrospective demands. The model that failed before also felt completely logical at the time. So hold the thesis, test it constantly, and do not fall in love with a price target. Fact 8. The one signal that would genuinely challenge the bull case is a sharp reversal in central bank gold buying, specifically if the People's Bank of China publicly reduced its gold reserves. China has been adding gold to its reserves for 18 consecutive months as of recent data. If that reverses, watch it closely. That would be the real warning sign, not a rate cut or a strong jobs number. The lesson that ties all of this together is actually simple, even though it is hard to execute. Do not mistake a model for reality. The real yield versus gold model was real. It just was not the whole picture. Whenever a single relationship explains everything for a long time, that is exactly when to ask what it is missing. And right now, at $4,700 an ounce, the market is telling you it has already priced in a world where the old rules are being rewritten. The question is whether you are reading the new rules or still waiting for the old ones to come back. If you want to stay ahead of exactly that kind of shift, hit subscribe. Every week on this channel you get the macro picture, the honest calls, and yes, the corrections when the calls are wrong, because that is where the real edge lies. Turn on the notification bell next to that subscribe button, because in a market that moved $1,700 an ounce faster than almost anyone predicted, waiting until you remember to check in is genuinely not a strategy. And look, just to be straight with you, I am not a financial advisor, I am genuinely just someone who finds this stuff fascinating and does a lot of reading on it. Nothing here is personal advice for your situation, so take it as one perspective from a fellow learner, do your own digging, and form your own view. That is the only way any of this actually helps you.